What up, nerds? My name is Leslie. Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative. If you're new here, on Fridays I like to chat about new books I might have received in the mail, what I've finished reading, what I'm currently reading, some brief thoughts on those, and then I talk about what I am planning to read next. Before we get into the books, I have been meaning to show this to y'all, and I have just failed several weeks in a row now, but when I went home to Mississippi, I saw my friend Victoria, who has a little shop on Etsy called Nerdy Laundry. She is responsible for a lot of the Nerdy Narrative shirts you've seen me wear on the channel. Well, she has something new that she made. It is so freaking cute. It's my little logo about I sniff books and I read things. It is front and back. Look how freaking cute that is. I'll have to check on her shop to see if she has these available for purchase yet. She did send me home with a few extra that I could share with my patrons, so I just wanted to show y'all that. That is so stinking cute. So now let's get into the books that have joined the Nerdy Narrative library this week. The first one that came in the mail is this gorgeous beauty. It's called Sea of Souls, and it is by N.C. Scrimmager. I hope I am pronouncing her name correctly. I recently read and reviewed her science fiction novel that was part of SPSFC. It's called Those Left Behind, and I was absolutely in love with that book. I wasn't even halfway done, and I had to stop and get the rest of that series on my Kindle because I am absolutely going to be continuing that series. And then I saw on Twitter that she had written a fantasy novel. She did contact me personally and offer me a copy, and I let her know it might be a minute, but I am thrilled. What I was most impressed with when I read the science fiction novel Those Left Behind was the creation of all these different types of alien races and how beautifully well written they were. They each had different characteristics, different descriptions, different cultures and beliefs, and she just really fleshed them out. Dark be the water, and darker still the creatures that lurk within. I will put a link down in the description box below if you want to read the book description in more detail, but this one sounds absolutely amazing. And just like many of you did last week, I got my copy of Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. That is the latest installment in the Red Rising series. As much as I would love to just dive right into this one, I am desperate to reread the series first. So I will be putting this one off to the side until I can schedule a reread of that series. And my last two that I have here are from author John Durjan. I saw that he was offering on his website signed copies of his newest short story collection, Sleeping in the Fire, so I had to get in on that. And then he also included a signed copy of Inside the Devil's Nest, which I've had this arc for forever. I have been desperately trying to get this one worked into my TBR. My TBR has been absolutely out of control for 2023. This one was not actually so much a request by the author, but a request from me because I loved what I've read by John so far, and so I wanted to read more. Huge thank you to John for including this one in with my order. And look at this cover. That's just creepy. I don't know if my light is picking it up. It's kind of a dark cover, but my goodness, that looks creepy, creepy, creepy. I have bookmarks that match both of the books that he sent, plus a really cool sticker, which I will be sticking on my book cart. Those are all of the books that got added to the Nerdy Narrative library this week. Let's talk about what I finished. I did finish M.L. Wong's Blood Over Bright Haven. I ended up giving that one 4 stars. My written review has already been posted. I have filmed a dedicated review. Hopefully that will be up on the channel in the next week or so. If you're excited for that review, don't forget to be sure and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. The next thing that I finished reading was Warcry by Jim Butcher. This is the second graphic novel that is part of the Dresden universe. For those of you who may be new, I am currently rereading all of the Dresden Files, and I am sprinkling in the short stories and the graphic novel as they fall in chronological order. I've read through the novel Deadbeat, and I've just finished Warcry, which I gave 3 stars. This is the first time I've ever read the graphic novels, and with the experience I've had with the 2 that I've read, is they don't really add anything to the Dresden Files as a whole, nothing new. What I do like about them is the artist did a fantastic job drawing these characters exactly as described in the novels. That's where all of the enjoyment has been for me in reading those. I also finished my reread of A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan, which is book 7 in the Wheel of Time series. This one I gave 5 stars to. I knew when I picked this one up that I was going to have a good time because historically, anytime I've ever read this book, I've had a great time with it. There was something in every chapter that I loved and looked forward to. It's definitely in my top 3 favorites of the Wheel of Time books. It might even be in my top 2. I'll have to wait until I finish rereading the rest of the series to be certain, but I feel pretty sure it's top 2 or top 3. And my last completed read for this week is Catriona Ward's newest Looking Glass Sound. This one comes out next week, August 8th. Is that next week? It is next week. My goodness, this year is just flying by. But Looking Glass Sound, Catriona Ward. First, I believe if you read anything else by Catriona Ward that you enjoyed, such as Sundial, you're going to love this one. Ward just really excels at twisting your brain in knots. And I actually thought when I got to the second half, I was going, oh man, no, this is ruining everything that happened in the first half. And my word, I should have known better. After reading what she did with Sundial, I really should have known better. But if you're someone who likes things that really turn you inside out, such as The Least of My Scars by Stephen Graham Jones, I think you might would be interested in giving this one a shot. I have published my written review. I'll put a link down in the description below, and I'm going to do a dedicated review for this one that I will try to have out on release day next Tuesday. Now, dipping into what I am currently reading, I'm still working on the anthology Shakespeare Unleashed, which is a collection of stories that have been inspired by Shakespeare's works. They're not just any old type of story either. They're horror stories. I have really enjoyed this take on Shakespeare's works and characters. To make it even more interesting, some of the stories and sonnets were inspired by a previous author's story that came earlier in the collection. I thought that was such a nice, unique element to this collection. But like I said, I have really been enjoying my time spent in this anthology, and I should be finished in the next week or so. And my other book that I started and will probably have finished by the time I get this video edited and uploaded on the channel is Orphan X by Greg Hurwitz. I believe this is a completed series. There are 9 books out in it so far. This is my patron pick of the month for July. I started it yesterday and I am already just flying right through it. My patron who picked this for me, Ev, she told me the audiobook was really amazing, so I also picked the audiobook up, which is narrated by Scott Brick, and I decided to kick it off when I went for my long run yesterday morning. Ev was right. The audiobook is amazing, and so far, that's the only way I have consumed this novel. I just had a whole bunch of things that I had to do yesterday, so I just kept my headphones in and had a great time listening to this story. If you're someone like me who really loved the Jason Bourne series or the Jack Reacher series by Lee Child, I think this is right up your alley. This is a more modern day tech savvy updated version of it, and I have just been eating it up. It's killing me to be sitting here filming right now because I just want to read this book. So if I've caught your interest with it but you want to wait until I finish it or get further in the series, keep your eyes on the channel. I should be finishing this one very soon, so be looking for a review in the coming weeks on that one. Now that we have covered what I have finished reading and what I'm currently reading, let's talk about what I'm going to read next. I did mention this last week. August 7th, Una from the Codex Cantina and I will be kicking off our reread of the first 23 volumes of One Piece. I am so excited. What better way to pass the days between now and August 31st when the live action series comes out than by rereading the beginning of this beloved series. So excited. As far as my next 2 books that I'm going to start. The first one is Nascent Witch. This is by Melissa Bobby. This one is part of my SPFBO 9 reads. I have 2 books left to read, and then I will make my determination of which one is going to be going forward. So I have Nascent Witch up for that. I do have a video where I go into detail about all of my SPFBO 9 reads, so I will have that listed up in the cards for you if you want to check out what all of them are about. My next audiobook that I'm going to start is an arc that I received received from Swashbuckler Press called Over London. This is written by George Penney and Tony Johnson and comes out on September 12th, 2023. This arc was an instant yes to me because of two reasons. The first one being it was blurbed by one of my favorite authors, C.K. McDonald, who wrote the Stranger Times series and also the Dublin trilogy. The other reason is because the audiobook narrator is Brendan McDonald, who narrated the Stranger Times series and is just absolutely amazing. There was no way that I could say no to this. What C.K. McDonald actually said about the series is, it's a rollicking comic fantasy whodunit with a Tudor twist. A delightful romp, chock full of wonderfully bonkers ideas. It's safe for age ranges from YA to adult, features LGBTQIA+ characters, and incorporates a lot of British humor that has been compared to Spike Milligan, Terry Pratchett, and Douglas Adams. I just see nothing here but a good time. There's no way this book can lose with me. I hope you're excited to hear more about it. I hope to have started it by the time I check in with y'all next week, so stay tuned for that. Between those two books and rereading One Piece, I fully expect that to keep me busy until I check in with y'all next week. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed hearing about all of the things that I've been reading, what I'm about to read. If any of the books that I've mentioned here today, if I finish the book, I'll have my website link below if you want to read the reviews. If you prefer video format, I've got dedicated reviews coming. Keep your eyes peeled here on the channel. And if anything sounded good that I'm about to start, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you don't miss it when it goes live. Have a fantastic rest of your day, a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one.